Today's video covers Advanced Higher Biology, Unit 3, Investigative Biology, specifically Key Area 3, Reporting and Critical Evaluation of Biological Research. In this video, we'll look at subsection A, the Background Information section. So we'll look at the features of an effective background information section, the features of an effective title, abstract, aim, and introductory session. So an effective background information section. In a scientific report, it should contain an explanatory title, an abstract including aims and finding, an introduction explaining the purpose and context of the study, including the use of any sources, supporting statements, citations, and references. It should be clear, relevant, unambiguous, and often follows the structure of a title, an abstract, introduction, and aim. In an effective title section, we should have a succinct explanation of the study. So you can see the 4 examples on the right. Just by reading those titles that come from different scholarly articles, you can have a basic idea of what has been covered in that study, whether it's finding a template for the Drosophila brain, whether it is looking at botanical collections and using them to describe plants, or looking at respiratory fitness. In the abstract, we should outline the aims and findings of the study. Quite often, it has the justification, it has the method, the findings, and the conclusions. This is a potted version of the entire article here. Quite often you can read this and it will basically give you an idea whether or not that paper is linked to what you're trying to research. In the aims section, we must link the independent and dependent variables. So we'll know that the dependent variable is usually the one which we measure, and the independent is the one that we change. All of the variables should be controlled in order to allow for a valid experiment. It is a bit of a warning that while this is what the Advanced Higher course wants you to know, a lot of zoological and ecological papers, or papers which are a review of many different articles, don't always follow that structure. In the article at the bottom, though, we can see from this section here, at the end of the background in the abstract section, there is no previous studies exploring the association between cardiorespiratory fitness and the new onset psoriasis and psoriatic arthritis. So that in itself gives us the aim without specifying that it is the aim, like it does here. So we know that the independent variable, the thing that is having the effect, is cardiorespiratory fitness, and the thing that they are investigating, the dependent variable, is new onset psoriasis and psoriatic arthritis. In the introduction section, we should provide the information required to support the choice of method, the results, and a discussion. An introduction should explain why the study had to be carried out and place the study in the context of existing understanding. We mentioned in previous sections of this Unit 3 that quite often through cost, you will have people who have given you money to do studies, and you have to justify why you've used the money to do that particular study. Why was it important that we did this study? The example we showed before with psoriasis, their entire introduction is a justification for why this should be done. Every second sentence is, this has not been studied before. That's a very good way to justify to your backers that you needed to do this experiment in this way, with this choice of organism, with this method, and it weighs all the key points against each other. So this, in the introduction, we also need to discuss information which supports our study and any contradictory information. Quite often a good reason to do a study is because there is so much contrary information in the field. If half of researchers believe one thing and half believe something else, a study which tries to make that decision definitively would be very useful. In our introduction, we should include references. So you can see here the Vancouver model of referencing where we have a number. And in the reference section, which is down here at the end of the paper, we have the references listed with the associated number. The difference here between the Vancouver and the Harvard referencing system is that this reference here might have a researcher's surname, for example, that is shown. which obviously starts with the letter S. In the Harvard referencing system, we would tend to list the references at the end of the paper in alphabetical order by lead researcher's surname. So, for example, Bonech would probably in the Harvard referencing system end up at the top of the reference list, where Schoen in the Harvard referencing system would be near the bottom. In Vancouver, we don't need to alphabetize. It's listed in the order that it appeared in the paper. So, as I said before, any decisions regarding the basic selection of study methods and organisms should be covered, as should the aims and hypotheses. That covers everything we need to know for Curia 3, subsection A of Unit 3. The background information should be clear, relevant, and unambiguous. The title should provide a succinct explanation of the study. An abstract should outline the aims and findings of the study. An aim must link the independent and dependent variables, whereas the introduction should provide information required to support the choice of methods, results, and discussion. An introduction should explain why the study had to be carried out and place the study in the wider context of existing understanding. Key points should be summarised and supporting and contradictory information identified. Several sources should be selected to support statements, and citations and references should be in one of the standard forms. Decisions regarding the basic selection of study methods and organisms should be covered, as should the aims and hypotheses. Hopefully, this video made sense and was helpful in covering this. Please do get in contact if you need any more help.